to another edition of Straight from the Paws. I'm Beverly Andrade, your hostess for today, and with me is our guest, Bob Schenck of Animal Instincts. Hey Bob, thanks for coming on our show again.
You're very welcome.
It's been a while getting you here.
Yeah.
I think this is
been a little
like
busy.
your third appearance.
I believe so.
Yeah, I think we've done 3 times with you, and we've had strange creatures come on the show. That's what I love about our show. We bring on all kinds of creatures in the animal world. People think Forever Paws is just cats and dogs, but Forever Paws is all about animals. It doesn't matter what kind of an animal it is. I go all the way back to when our administrator had a pig at the shelter.
Oh, yeah.
We've had chickens. All kinds of crazy animals have come to the shelter. So Forever Paws is not just a cat and dog place. It's animal welfare, and that's what I like to think about it. So having you on our show with different critters that sometimes you can't cuddle with and watch TV at night on your lap is a really good thing for people to see. Not everybody wants a cat and a dog. And a lot of landlords don't want cats and dogs.
Oh, yeah.
But they'll allow fish and some of these other creatures that you have here today.
I am the landlord that is the exception to that rule.
You are.
I can tell you that.
You're an animal advocate. So we do that. And I also want to tell everybody that Bob here is on President Avenue in Fall River, and we advise everybody to shop local. We shop local. Forever Paws always tries to go to the stores that are in our community as opposed to the big box stores. I mean, every once in a while we have to go to a box store, you know what I'm saying? But what we try to do is do everything local. Like we go to the local stores. I think even our manager's gone to your store for cages, for little critters.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we try to...
And your staff as well. They're in on a regular
right,
basis.
and sometimes we need milk formula for puppies and kittens. So yeah, we would prefer to shop local first and support our own community. So we want that to be known out there that Forever Paws does favor the locals before the box stores, and I hope all of our listeners out there in TV land will do that too, especially for some of these little critters. So first of all, Bob, tell me what's happening into your fish room. I hear there's a lot of changes going on in the fish room.
Yeah, we have some construction that's just started. We've had some plans on the board for quite a while, probably about a year and a half. We just started to tear apart some sections. We've been open since November 30, 1990.
Wow,
so,
that's a long time.
Yeah, there's
27 years.
27 years this November. So we're a little tattered. It's been quite a while of repairing and putting Band-Aids and putting fires out and making everything continue to operate, but I'm not the handiest guy in the world, although I try.
Not to mention you're a little busy.
I am a little busy.
You do a lot of this kind of stuff coming around and making people aware of the animals that you do have.
Well, we do a lot of educational shows,
right?
That's for sure, as well as the entertaining end of it for the birthday parties and whatnot, but we also do aquarium installation and maintenance too, so we're definitely all over the place, but we have the best staff we've had in 27 years. They're absolutely amazing. Yeah, it makes a world of difference, and it's allowed me that luxury to be able to kind of break away from the everyday being on a sales floor and being able to address everything else.
So you can trust your staff to run the business.
Oh, they're wonderful.
And there's another thing I want our studio audience to know is, not our studio audience, our home audience, is that we've partnered with BCC, and are you still on the partner end of BCC?
Yes, yeah.
So that vet care program that was instrumental, that we've been on that IACO committee, Gail and myself, and we'd like to everybody know that they also go to Animal Instincts and work with the animals there. So you're getting some vet tech assistance from the college.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing.
It's amazing.
We get some vet care for Zero, which is great.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, and
I love when they come to Forever Paws.
Yeah, they're great. And we're stripping out our second floor over our fish room, and that will be our in-house exotic animal rescue and educational facility. So we're going to clean it out. We're going to get the tables up there, and when they come in with a large group of students like they have in the past, upwards of 18 to 22 at a time.
Someone's talking in the back.
Yeah, he wants attention, that's for sure. We've had to separate the group into 3 different sections in the store and then rotate the groups around. So now we'll be able to have the entire entourage be able to stick together. And then I'll actually be able to jockey out some of our ambassadors. So if they're doing probing or holding or any of the veterinary work that they do, we will be able to assist them more comfortably. And like you say, it's an absolute joy to be able to have them in a facility. So we have an open door policy for them anytime they want to come down.
Us
that's
too,
for sure.
we really have. I wish we had a larger facility also when they come down in a large group. The good thing about our facility is the land, and a lot of the things they can do are outside. They like to do that target shooting, so that when they dot animals in the zoo, the students are already working on that. So we do have the land.
Yeah.
You don't have the land, we have the land.
Yeah, I love that.
But it's great that we work together with the students from BCC too. So Bob, let's start with what you have here today.
Okay. All right, fantastic. So being the winter months, which is now we're quickly approaching, I have a couple of specimens here that normally we don't bring in the facility in the summer because they do not do well in warmer weather. So these are called axolotls. They make fantastic pets. They've been called sweet and kind and tender, and they look at you and they talk to you and they do all these different things. I mean, I see an amazing animal that has incredible attributes, but people look at these and think that they are kind of like a puppy dog, almost.
Well, they're pink.
Yeah, so these are the albino version. These do not have the special gene that would allow them to glow in the dark. If they had, I would have brought a actinic light, or a black light, as some people call it, and it would reflect that type of lighting. But these are standard or albinos. So these are now extinct in the wild. They come from a series of lakes in Mexico. And
well, that's too bad.
yeah, it is unfortunate. And that's a problem we're having with a lot of species now, is habitat destruction, or the animal possibly could be considered a delicacy. And that's the other contributing factor that diminishes the numbers, is that they're being collected because, a particular group of people
decided they could cook and eat them.
yeah, for whatever purpose, and it's usually not medicinal. But
And they're so cute. Now, how big is this going to get?
so this guy right here is just about adult, but being a year and a half, this one's 18 to 20 months old. This belongs to a client of ours who purchased him as a baby this size, approximately about a year and a half ago. He'll get to be maybe 25 to 50% larger on the high end, and they have amazing abilities. So a few things about the axolotls: they're fully aquatic. They no longer continue to metamorphosize. So like what we have here, we have our yellow spotted salamanders that start off the same way, as eggs, and then the eggs hatch out and they have this neonate state, but they continue
Like a
to
polywog state.
Correct. But then as a frog would change, our native species also changes, becomes a terrestrial or land-dwelling animal, where this guy stays fully aquatic. He never changes.
Can he be in a fish tank with other fish?
No, he can't.
So he's got to be alone.
Basically, yes. If there are a few people who have specimens mixed with them, but they don't like to be bit, and if they can feed on something and it actually would fit in their mouth, they feed by suction. So they sit very still when it swims in front of their mouth. They'll take a huge gulp of water and they'll pull a small aquatic specimen in for lunch. But they can do amazing things. Like, for instance, if they were in the wild or they were in a tank and a fish swam by and bit his arm off, they are amazing. They actually have the ability to fully regenerate that missing appendage. Not only can they regenerate an arm or leg, but any of their tissue, part of their brain, or part of their spine. So,
That's amazing.
yeah, so these are
And
being
they're extinct?
they're extinct in the wild. Well, because of the lakes are so polluted, it's almost an area of genocide. That's how bad it is. But they are being studied all over the world for tissue regeneration, and they are in the pet trade. And because of the pet trade and their somewhat ease of breeding, we've never had much success with it, but some folks do. They do it commercially, and the market is absolutely flooded with these in the late fall, during the winter, and the very early spring. And then in the summer you don't see them because they tend to become compromised in warm weather. They need warmer water. They need high dissolved oxygen. So these just came off ice packs inside other containers. So the water is pretty chilly, but this one comes out of a house, out of a particular room in the summer that's air conditioned. And this was shipped in from one of our breeders in Florida in a container with ice packs with other things that needed to be cold.
That's unusual. We would think of this tropical stuff like Mexico as
Right.
being warm. How did they survive in warm water in
Because
Mexico?
at the bottom of the lakes, it tends to be cooler.
Oh, okay, so they're way down.
That's right. And another interesting thing that they also shows their resilience is in Mexico, several of these lakes tend to dry up in the summer. So when it does get hot, these lakes are evaporating rapidly. So as you see, they have external gills that are
Yep.
absorbing oxygen underwater. As the lakes dry up, their bodies identify that, and then their bodies absorb these gills, and they start to breathe oxygen like we do. When it starts to rain and they get flooded again, they grow back. So
that is,
they are,
I can't believe that.
yeah, they are absolutely amazing.
Very adaptable.
Yep, yep. And
You know, they're
something
actually
different.
cute. I'm sitting here looking at this while you're talking, and I don't know if our studio audience can really get a good look at it, but they're actually cute. They got the cutest little feet and cute little faces.
Yeah, people have.
Look, he's going right up to the camera right now. They're cute, but they can't come out of water. So you can't pick them up.
So it's
and
not
pet 'em.
something you can handle. That's right.
So it's like a fish tank. You just keep watching them in the tank.
Correct.
So in the store, this is in a big gallon tank.
Well, this is in a 40-gallon breeder, so this is in a 36 by 18 tank, so it's a pretty good sized footprint. And then these stay in smaller tanks in the shop, but we recommend 40-gallon tanks are almost perfect for just about anything, as long as unless it's something that gets a little larger than it's full grown, but it could be handled, then a 40-gallon breeder would work.
Now, how can they breed these if you said they eat anything that's in the tank? So how do you?
Only for a short amount of time.
You can have a male and a female?
And as long as their size is comparable.
Comparable, so he's
Right.
not going to eat each other.
Right, like when a mother lays the eggs, she leaves the eggs, she abandons them, and then the babies hatch out.
And they're
That's right.
independent. Now, what are they eating? I know you brought grapes, but what are they eating?
So
We've been eating the grapes, so
yeah,
everybody
yeah.
knows that.
they are anything, fish, crayfish, insects, basically anything that hits the water.
And you sell the food that they're going to eat?
Yeah, we have a processed, a pelleted diet as well, made specifically for them. It's a really high protein diet, and they love it. They just suck them in. But the natural foods tend to be nice as a treat because then, you know, you're kind of bringing them closer to nature. Everything that we keep as pets, we want to try to duplicate nature.
Correct.
So whether it's lighting or temperature, humidity, diet.
So if someone out in our studio, now that we're getting into the cold months of the year again, this is a good time to want to get one of these. But then when the summer comes, they have to be in an air-conditioned room.
Right, an air-conditioned room or a cool basement.
Or a cool basement.
And if you drop the ball and he tends to warm up a little bit, you may notice that he gets a white cottony mass inside his finnage. A good way to correct that is a low basin of water in the refrigerator, sometimes for 2 or 3 months, almost 8 to 12 weeks. His body will go into a brumatic state. He'll hibernate, but he'll have enough energy to continue to heal, so he'll
that's
survive.
interesting.
And that's how he grows his body parts back too. We've had one with a missing leg, and it fully regenerated. Was pretty amazing.
It is. All right, so what else have you got with us
Oh,
today?
I got a couple interesting guys.
Okay, we'll put these little critters off to the side.
So we do our, we do a fair share of rescue, and we get a lot of surrenders in of odd stuff that you would normally maybe get dropped off and then bring to me.
Yeah.
So
We've done that too.
The snakes and the reptiles, the big birds. Today, to give you an idea, we have had this past summer, since February, I think we've had 33 birds surrendered or rescued between Fish and Wildlife Animal Control and then a local community. Local landlords, usually things are abandoned, we get the call, we go in,
Yeah.
and it's at the brink of, same thing you see with the dogs and cats, but just on the
It's
other
other
end.
animals, right.
So far, we hold everything generally for about 12 weeks. So the 2 birds that I have with me today have been with us for a short period of time. So they won't be ready till probably February, I would say, in that area.
Okay.
To be able to be
I don't know if I should
available
stand up.
for adoption.
All right.
But I'm going to use this perch.
Okay. I'm
Just to hold one of the
getting
guys.
untwisted from my wire here.
And this guy's pretty unique.
Oh, he's pretty.
Yeah, this is a Patagonian conure. This is the largest species of conure. And he seems like he's a pretty good guy. Now, I do have to say that we've just had him for a few days, but I went and picked him up. He came out of an extremely clean environment. He was well cared for. The landlord decided that he no longer wanted this lady to have this bird as a pet. Oh. He suggested that it was bringing mice into the house, which they absolutely do not do. So it sounds like the landlord has a mouse problem. I just clipped his wings, and he seems like he's a pretty good guy. No, we clipped just outside of the secondaries, the first 8 flight feathers. And what that does is that allows him to get enough lift. So I can tell you that there are some people out there that still clip the old-fashioned way, and they'll clip one side. And there's a huge problem with that. So imagine that you're carrying a weight here and nothing on this side, and you trip and fall. You're gonna twist the shoulder. You're gonna hurt your arm. So we keep the bird balanced. We trim both sides evenly. So if he does try to fly, he'll get enough lift so he doesn't smash his chest open.
He has beautiful colors.
This is Josie. Really, really super cool things about these birds. For instance, he needs his nails trimmed. He'll go right to you.
Wow.
Hi, Josie.
Hi.
Let's see if he likes to be petted. So he's new on a block, that's for sure. So what we do is we hold them. We make sure they're bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. We look for all the telltale signs that something's not right. He's already been sprayed down and his cage has been pressure washed.
Now, do they get mites and things like that?
They can. So mites and lice could always possibly be an issue. So that's why he gets sprayed down the first 24 hours. But I can tell you that it was definitely an immaculate situation that he came out of. So this is really more of a rehoming, but he'll still need a vet check. He'll need his nails cut, obviously.
I know, so I'm looking at his nails. They don't hurt, but they are very long. He's not like what you would do with the hawk. They would grab you and claw you.
Yeah, no, he's not. He does have a opposing feet, so he could use those for grasping, but not for live food. He would be grasping more fruit or nuts or that type of things.
He's
or
really
berries.
Cute. I remember one of our shows, you had a bird on my shoulder. It was chewing my earrings.
That's
He'll
right.
chew anything, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But this guy looks he looks beautiful.
So
he really
a little
does.
different than other birds in that.
Whoops.
And that, here, let's see.
Okay.
Let's try it here. Flip your hand around this way.
All right.
And put 2 fingers up. Good boy.
Oh, wow.
Good boy. And if you leave your arm down, birds don't like to climb down. So if you had your arm like this, he'll climb right up to your shoulder. But we'll keep him away from your face for now. He seems very friendly, and I wouldn't be overly concerned. She was actually afraid to pick him up. And it's kind of interesting because...
Who was afraid?
The owner.
Oh, okay.
And I think part of the reason why is because what happens is birds are much like people, that they have a bad day. And when they're having a bad day, they'll let you know by lunging at you or giving you a pinch. It's nothing that you should be put off by, because...
Well, we have it with dogs and cats, too.
Yeah, and you have to work through it. You got to get back to where you were. So she was really intimidated and afraid. And of course, when I went there, I just reached in and picked him up. I've been bitten by bigger birds, so I was ready for it. And sure enough, he was very good-natured. Now, these birds in the wild will actually, they do a thing called burrowing, and they'll actually dig a 6-foot deep trench or tunnel or burrow to be able to live in and lay their eggs. So
they lay their eggs in the ground?
6 feet, usually in rock cliffs, and they'll dig into the rock cliffs.
And the quarantine is because that's what you want to do, to make sure he's healthy.
Yeah, we could easily turn him, but what we like to do is we like to keep him. We bring him in the office. We let the staff have lunch with them. We find out what their key things are, what their favorite stuff is. So before somebody has an opportunity to become interested or attached to him, we already know particulars about him. And we already do anyways, because she's given me a whole list. So anytime we have an opportunity to take information with us before we start, we certainly do that as well.
Now, will he go up there?
We're going to try him.
All right.
So far, he hasn't tried to fly.
He seems to like you already, huh?
Yeah.
He goes right to you.
Yeah, I'm pretty good with these guys. This banded, I don't know if you can see that or not.
I see it, yes.
And the nice thing with the band is some of the birds, I'm not sure if he will be or not, but when we get a good look at it, we'll take a look. But there are websites that we can go back. Whoops, there he goes. That's nice. and he'll actually be able, we'll be able to go back some birds several generations and find out who his parents
really?
are.
Come on. Come on.
Up, up.
Up, up. Come on. There you go. There you go. All right. There we go.
Nice. Come on, bud. This is Josie.
Josie, very nice to have you here, Josie. Will he eat grapes?
I hope so.
I'm going to give him a grape.
So most of the conures most people are familiar with are the Genday, the Nanday, the Sun Conure. I have another one with me.
Now, can they be with other birds in the cage, or are they usually by themselves?
Usually they're solitary, but the cages can be near each other. And then you kind of let the birds meet on neutral turf. Sometimes it could be a territorial thing.
We do the same thing with dogs. We have to do meet and greets on neutral turf.
There you go. So this one is a young blue-crowned conure.
Oh, it looks like a baby.
Yeah, so he's quite a pincher. So we've had him for about a week and a half, 2 weeks. Hi, bud.
Now, are they in the same family?
They are. Yeah, he says a few things, a couple of choice things.
Choice words, I heard.
So we may need to do some bleeping later. But yeah, a smaller conure. Now, that Patagonian, which is kind of interesting, is on the CITES list, or a list for protected animals, as least concern. And the interesting thing with that is that they're thought that their numbers have diminished. And the two reasons their numbers have diminished are kind of crazy. One is because they were considered a delicacy. So
again,
people were eating them.
Exotic animals.
And the second was that the farmers were losing their crops to them. So they were actually put on a list as a nuisance pet, kind of like mice. So they were allowed to be exterminated or eliminated. But I can tell you that our Fish and Wildlife and our animal control departments are so intuitive and so in tune with that I really think that if the species was diminished and restricted like it's thought that they were, their position would certainly change on a list. And over the last 10 or 15 years, there are no more wild caught. All these Patagonians are domestic raised.
Now, where are they from? What's their natural?
South America.
South America. That's where all these colored birds seem to come from.
Yeah.
Is South America.
Yeah. Now, this little guy is introduced to Florida and California. These little guys tend to be considered having great personalities, tend to be considered tender, loving, entertaining, but they're more temperamental.
So he's more temperamental than he is.
Correct. Yeah, and it's partly due to how he's raised. So we don't really know the full story behind him. I mean, some people roughhouse with their birds. They grab them by the beak, they shake them. I mean, we are always tend to be like 100% tender. So this is another one that will certainly be looking for a home. Now, some of the birds, like I would say either one of these, maybe not so much the Patagonian or Josie, but this little guy right here, because he is temperamental and he does pinch pretty hard. I mean, I often forget my skin is really thick because I'm really accustomed to it. So I would say that, you know, this would be better, this type of bird would be better for someone with already handling experience, someone that's had a pet bird before. So this is a veiled chameleon.
Yep.
And he's from Yemen or Saudi Arabia. And he lives in interesting different climates. He can go from tropical, subtropical to desert. And a lot of really cool, unique characteristics. For instance, he has this prehensile tail that he can use to climb or hang with. On occasion, when he's sleeping at night, he'll be hanging from his tail and he'll have his two hands almost like he's praying, hanging, pointing down.
He's got beautiful colors, but over there he was brown.
Yeah, he's starting to change. So he's a male, he's flashing his colors. He has two independent eyes. He has a tongue that's 1.5 to 2 times the length of his body.
Wow.
And he has pinpoint accuracy. Each eye can go 180 degrees, so he can see 360 degrees all the way around him. And he can process 2 different images at the same time. So he's got a lot going on. This is a pretty cool little guy. 25 years ago, these were impossible to keep alive. They were all wild caught. They were full of internal parasites. They had nematodes. They had upper respiratory infections. These have now been domestically bred hundreds of generations.
And kids like these little critters.
They're great, and now we know how to take care of them. So we use a drip system, and they're considered an omnivore, so they eat meat and plant matter. But the interesting thing is they get no nutritional value from the plants that they eat. They get their moisture from the plants that they eat.
Oh, that's why they don't drink a lot of water.
That's right.
Do we have time for one more? All right, so let's see if we can get that skink in.
Okay. So let me put
I think
this.
it's a skink. Is that what
Yeah.
you call it? I want to see this other critter that you said is blue.
Okay. So we're gonna pop these out.
Oh, this is in grass.
Yeah, I don't know why, they're in all different substrates. Okay. So now we're gonna get to see someone from Australia. And I brought this one because, in my opinion, this is gonna be the next hot pet. They call them morphs, but actually a better terminology is, truly I've heard someone utilize it recently, as paint jobs. So they're selectively breeding and getting them different colors. Right now they have a yellow one with red stripes. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
So which one is this?
So there's two varieties. There's a northern and southern. So these are from Australia.
Oh my, he's pretty big.
This is a female, and she's actually gravid. So we're thinking she may have as many as 3 to 4 babies inside of her right now. And the unique thing about this lizard is that they're called a special word called oviviparous, which means they have live birth. So instead of it being an egg layer, and you know the funny thing is, I had someone recently tell me, oh, they're so slow and lethargic. Well, let me tell you, if we put this guy on a carpeted floor or out in the grass,
It's
and he
moving.
takes off, those short, stocky little legs with the slippery belly, they're fast.
So this is dropping scales.
Yeah, so this one just did a full shed this morning, so
Oh,
this
see
is
that?
left
Yeah,
over.
that's left over.
Yeah, and feel that with your hand.
It's like a rock.
Right.
Wow.
And really chunky overlapping scales. A beautiful, beautiful reptile. They never need anything on them. No special type of creams or conditioners. Their skin is just absolutely perfect all the time. And in the wild, they have really one defense. It's a little trick that they do, and it doesn't necessarily work all the time. Now,
We'll take care of this later.
is that they stick their tongue out. And this is where they get the name, the blue-tongued skink. Let's see, wow, that's a good shed. Looking good. So
Now it's
here
making noises.
Yeah, so he's hissing, he can puff out. Let's see if he opens his mouth.
I can hear it, but yeah,
Yep, there
there's
you
a
go.
little bit. Yeah, we
So
did a
the
little
color
bit.
blue would denote
Yeah, you can see it.
poison or venomous in nature. And it's just kind of a fake me out characteristic, and I'm sure on occasion it works. The other thing that they can do is they can run like heck, and they can slide across the ground. I mean, they definitely are preyed upon by many animals because they don't have, you know, a huge biting capacity. But that's the female. Here's the male.
Okay.
So here, let's trade. Watch
All right.
this. Now this one, total different temperament. Mellow, calm, easy to handle.
But that one's pregnant, you said.
Correct.
All right.
So she's a little irritable. We're going to put her back in
Yeah,
here.
so this one's a little quieter,
Right.
and not shedding. This
well,
one's
he's definitely stress-free because he's away from mama. 'Cause
Oh,
she had
okay.
enough of him, and she was tormenting him, pushing him around like crazy.
so yeah, he looks calmer. I don't know what our time is, but I think we're okay.
And then I'll give you one last demo.
Oh,
Here
a
are
baby
what the babies
one.
look like.
And are they slower? They're not gonna.
They are. So you can see the difference in the color. So it's all the locale, where they're collected or where they're bred, where they're native to. But they make great pets. The bearded dragon has been, without question, the #1 pet
And these guys, you said,
a while.
are definitely coming into themselves.
I would have to
this
say
one is
so.
a really bright orangey color.
Yep. And they will eat absolutely anything. So if we had, I mean, I would think grapes, insects, snails, you name it.
All right, I think that's it for our show for today. We'll get this all cleaned up, and I hope everyone has enjoyed looking at these little critters that we have today.